My name is Cerys Tramontini. I'm a peace researcher from Brazil. I'm currently at the Greenhof Seminar Center, which is the home base of the Master Program on Peace Studies at University of Innsbruck, Austria. This program follows the Transrational peace approach, which is described extensively in this book called Interpretations of Peace in History and Culture, written by Professor Dr. Wolfgang Dietrich. Professor Dietrich is the UNESCO chairholder for peace studies at University of Innsbruck. As well, he is the director of the Master Program on Peace Studies at the same university. Professor Dietrich, thank you for being with us. As I mentioned before about the Master Program, which has the Transrational peace approach, I would like to know more about that. Could you please explain? What does it mean, the Transrational peace approach?
Thank you, Cerys. Well, actually, this is a result of more than 10 years of peace research that we did, beginning with the question, what is peace? A quite simple question, seemingly simple question, because the more research you do on that, the more clear it becomes that for being able to talk about peace, you need a perceiving subject, which is peace is only a relevant word if there is somebody who perceives peace. And transrational now means what the word literally says, that there is a rational understanding and meaning of peace, but this is not complete. Peace is rational and so much more. It addresses all the different spheres, layers of the human existence, and goes beyond the limitations of rationality. So what we is our team of the UNESCO chair, found in the transcourse of many years, of research of many years, is that we have some commonalities of peace interpretations in the world, but also very remarkable differences. And we ended up with a classification that we now call the 5 peace families. We call these 5 families the energetic, the moral, the modern, the postmodern, and the transrational interpretations of peace. And now the energetic approach is, I think for describing that just with a few words, is everything that understands peace as the unification of opposites. That is, with our human senses, we perceive in the world opposing polarities, and this is just a finding. And the main challenge now is, what are we doing with that? How do we interpret a world of polarities? And in this specific interpretation of peace, the idea is that if there are polarities, peace is there, if we find the unification, that is a balance of the opposites, and we also understand, therefore it is called energetic, that this can never be a stable situation, but only a continuous transformation of human relations. And therefore we will always have the challenge, the constant challenge of balancing our current state of relations, our current state of affairs. And this goes from the intrasubjective level of how am I as an individual, to the familial, to the communal, to the societal, and even to the global level. So this would be here an interpretation, and we find that in many classical, cultural, religious, philosophical approaches, like in Advaita Hinduism, in Taoism, in Tantric Buddhism, and in many more very important philosophical approaches. So we summarize the energetic understanding of peace then as peace out of harmony, as peace is a classical term that can never go alone. It always needs a twin, or let's say a partner, that interprets, that tells us how peace has to be understood. Peace by itself is an empty plastic word. So peace out of harmony in the energetic understanding. Then the moral understanding of peace starts from the same observation that there is a world full of polarities, of opposites, but the conclusion that it draws from this observation is very different. And this is the moment when opposites like good and bad, or right and wrong, strong and weak, come into the scene. That is, as soon as I see that there is an opposite in society, in nature, in whatever sort of relation, I make in this frame now the decision what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing. And in order to be able to make this decision, I need a normative list of values that tells me what to do. Because it is quite obvious that in such an understanding, if there is good and bad, I want to do the good thing. I want to be the good one. We see that from this distinction, we also get a quite important new division, which is the we and the them. Because if there is some such thing like the objectively good truth, and I want to be the good one, then it logically says that those who do not do the same are the bad ones, doing the wrong things. So we get a distinction, and the idea of peace here is, if only everyone does what this normative list tells us, we will have peace. And that's the moment also when justice gets into the discussion, because the just thing is the one that supports the good, the true, the beautiful ones. The problematic thing here is that on the one hand, this peace is beautiful for the ones who are included in this we, and of course we have a problematic consequence that there are also the ones who differ, excluded and judged in a way that is not that beneficial for them. This is what we see in the history of especially of the great cultures, of the historic cultures around the Mediterranean. We find that in the Jewish culture, we find that in all the Christian approaches, including the derivations of Christianity, and of course we find that also in Islam. And again, on the one hand, it is a beautiful message of peace in the name of justice, so peace out of justice. But we see that at the same time that justice is also quite a problematic concept that has to be taken into consideration if one defines peace that way. The third interpretation or family of interpretations is then what we call the modern approach to peace. This is, I think, what everybody knows because that's the seemingly self-evident interpretation nowadays. Which is in the structure the same as the moral, but it refers to a different ultimate principle. Moral principles, moral understandings of peace refer to whatever kind of personalized God as the ultimate justification of peace. So even the personalized God may be peace. The created God may be peace, may be called peace himself, as is, for example, the case in Islam. In the modern understanding, this God is somehow in the background. He doesn't disappear completely, but he is in the background. And now reason takes structurally the place of God, and the focus is on all the earthly relations, which means only things that are material, that can be seen, that can be touched, that can be heard, are of relevance for this interpretation of peace. And therefore, reason, rationality becomes the crucial word. If I ask, well, now in the modern sense, well, why are we doing that and that in the name of peace? We get the answer because it is rational. We want to be rational. And the key methodological tools that we get in this interpretation is, first of all, the nation state. So here I have to mention that the nation state is not a natural thing, has not always been there all the time, but is a construct of the human mind that was very useful for some centuries under specific societal conditions. And this is how we created the nation state, and this understanding of peace now refers to the nation state. It also refers to a calculability That means the possibility to analyze societies, societal relations, interhuman relations in the smallest detail, and the belief that you can draw conclusions of small findings to the bigger scale, so that you get a sort of an ultimate truth about peace. And this is very rational. Yeah, and rational here means that this is what our mind manages. Our mind is, we are equipped with the potential for rational thinking. Our mind is there for doing that. And now with our mind we can define this understanding. And what comes in here, and this is a quite important property of modernity, is the idea of security. Because if we refer only to earthly things, just to materials, to visible, to physical things, it is quite clear that the fear of losing them, beginning with our life and then everything that is attached to our human needs, but also to our comfort and to our material relations, all of that is somehow at risk and has to be maintained in a safe place. Therefore, this is also the idea of the nation state, create a nation state for having an internal order that provides security for the citizen, and of course also defend the citizens as a group against others who may be a threat. So security becomes the main objective of modern peace, and we can here say in this third interpretation, peace out of security. The fourth family, the postmodern family, stems from the principle of doubt, which is going through the modern experiences, the experiences of modern societies, and having the peak of modernity in the disasters of the First and the Second World War, in the Holocaust, in Hiroshima, and all these horrible things that happened in the 20th century. This principle, as if it primordially philosophical principle of doubt, became a global phenomenon in many societies. So postmodernity, that has to be understood either as a condition of modern societies or as a cognition of philosophy. I will come to that. Has two notions. The one thing is the doubt in the promises of modernity. So if modern peace brings upon Hiroshima, brings upon Auschwitz, brings upon wars with a destruction as the one that we have seen in the 20th century, why should people still believe in this peace out of security and with this ultimate point of reference, which is rationality? In a way, it's not reasonable to be reasonable. And the philosophical background here is, well, why do we get into this situation? Because we as human beings are reasonable, but not only reasonable. So reason may be a very helpful tool for us in order to get through our daily challenges, in the challenges of daily life, to master our daily life. But if we are only rational, we lose a lot of the human potential, and we are not able to go into a deeper relation with among and between us, and using all the skills, all the possibilities that the humankind has for interrelation. So this would be doubt as a principle, and then again the question of truth becomes very important in postmodern philosophy, but it turns away from this fixation on the ultimate principle of one truth and makes truth weaker or smaller if you want, and defines truth out of every really existing, really happening human encounter. That means now I'm not seeking in a postmodern context for a peace out of the one truth that a scientific rationality gives me, but truth is what you and me in our concrete encounter now define as truth, acknowledging that as soon as we get a third party into the game, we will have to redefine our truth, and with every new encounter, we will always have to define our new truth. So truth becomes a plural, and plurality, of course, is a key term of postmodern philosophy that tries to respond to the disorientation that modern societies got into after the disasters, after the traumatizing experiences in the 20th century. So peace out of truth is the key term for the postmodern understanding of pieces, which is now a plural, and it acknowledges that peace can only be made between me and you, and then me and the next one whom I meet. So we have many pieces. That's a key term here. We get many pieces, but it is not arbitrary, but it always depends of the concrete encounter of concrete human beings in the here and now. So that's quite challenging because we do not have the safety of the one answer. We cannot call God or call the president or call the scientists for telling us what peace is, but it is our own responsibility to define it and redefine it in every encounter. So this would be the 4 families, and now transrationality as the 5th one takes these 4 findings, combines them, and acknowledges the relevance of each of them. So, of course, we need security, we need justice, we need truth, and we need harmony in order to make our pieces, but we cannot focus on just one of them. As soon as we do that, the system gets out of balance, and in a dynamic, energetic, systemic understanding of peace, we will always try to balance between these 4 different notions. So transrationality embraces them all, takes rationality from the modern, takes the principle of doubt, which is a driving force in our still rational relations, as a principle, but then also acknowledges the energetic approach, which tells us that we are beyond rationality, for example, also sexual or communal, societal, spiritual beings, and that all of these aspects are relevant for making our pieces. So it gets more complex, more holistic, and at the same time, I think also more realistic, because from our individual experiences and our communal experience, we all know that yes, these are human properties, and we cannot just be peaceful on one singled out aspect of our humankind.
So thank you, Professor, for the whole explanation. And for further information, please visit the website. Thank you.